out for the team. And Coach Taz Moore, that's his name, he gave me a shot, and I've been playing basketball ever since. And from then, I went on to high school, and I didn't play things like AAU until 15. I didn't play biddy basketball. Biddy basketball is where they used to take the goal and bring it down about 3 or 4 inches.
Right.
I didn't play any of that, so I really didn't start getting recognition until maybe my freshman year. And that's because I played JV as a freshman, and my school had so much talent. You didn't play varsity until you was a junior, unless you was really good. So if you played as a freshman, you was great. If you played as a sophomore, you was good too. So most freshmen played freshmen, sophomores played JV, juniors and seniors played varsity. So man, that was that's when I started to get my recognition. But that was good because sometimes those side tournaments and side leagues, it kind of create bad habits. So I didn't have any bad habits. So I think I kind of started off on the right track.
Right.
Hey, Glenn, let's talk a little bit about, we talk about Gary. I know your mom was a real instrumental force in your life. I looked at your game, and not only did I see, the effervescence and this beauty, but I saw this blue-collar, workman-like way in which you went about your business. You grew up working in air conditioning and refrigeration shops and welding shops, right?
Yes, and my stepdad, he did used refrigeration and air conditioning type of work, and that's what Gary is. It's an industrial city. The steel mill basically was the funding of the whole city. So that's really what it was about, and it was just about working hard and going out and playing as hard as you can. And speaking of my moms didn't play. I had my stepdad around, but for the most part, my mom's had everything under control. He never really had to step in and get me back on track or get me under control because moms didn't play, and I knew that. And growing up and playing, I always wanted to do something to make my family happy, make my moms happy, make my grandpas happy. And just the first day I saw the smile on my grandpa's face when he reads the paper every morning, and just to be in the newspaper on something positive, I saw that smile on his face, and that gave me the drive to keep doing what I was doing because I felt like I was making somebody proud.
Right. Man, that sounds like you had a great foundation of people around you, with your stepdad, your moms, and your AAU coach, and obviously your family. And it also feels like you did the basketball thing the right way. Like it seems like you didn't get it all at once. You wasn't the big dog, always. And it seems like you took those steps. Because I think a lot of kids these days in this AAU stuff, I think we give them too much too soon. And I think it's unfair and it's too much for them. But it seems like you've done it the right way. And that's probably why you was as successful as you were.
Thanks. And then you have the parents that push their kids to, you got dads and you got moms that say, you're going to be a ball player, you're going to be this. You got to let them choose and decide what they want to do. And that's the way I do with my son, little Glenn. Well, that's how I did with him. He had to show me that this is what he wanted to do. One thing that I really didn't like was to have a obnoxious parent out there screaming and, big baseball, and the parent not in the stands. He up against the gate, basically behind screaming at every play. I didn't want to be like that with my son. And he had to show me that he can work hard and he can earn this on his own, because I also saw a lot of players lose the drive because they was doing it for their pops or they was doing it for moms. They was getting a lot of pressure put on them. And, mentally you can kind of lose your drive and get tired of that. So I'm glad I didn't play a lot of that stuff. It would have helped, but like you said, in some cases it hurt because sometimes you start to feel yourself, your chest get a little bit, stick out about 3 or 4 more inches, and your head expands a little bit, and you think you're better than what you are instead of continuing to work. And once I got to high school and I did start getting a name for myself, Coach Heffler, my high school coach, he was like a shield. He kept all the He kept all the people that was gonna try to come after me, the ones that wasn't really good for me. He kept them away, and that was good. Kept me focused, and I was just able to work.
Yeah. That's good. And speaking of your son, I mean, it's great to see him carry on the legacy. He's with the Pacers now. I think we actually at Kentucky we played against him in the NCAA tournament. So it's good to see that. And again, you know, you were able, I guess, because of the things that you were taught and the way you grew up, you was able to instill that in him, and now he's doing really big things too. Just won the dunk contest, so congratulations to that.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. That's great. You've done well.
No, I appreciate it. And once again, his mom's, this is like my mom. She don't play. So, you know, she never have to call me and say, Glenn, you need to have a talk with your son. He's doing this. Hey, she don't play. That's all I can say is, and that's installed in him, and he understands. And the biggest thing about Glenn is he's not walking around like my dad played ball. He's trying to make a name for himself. And the slam dunk contest, that's good recognition for his good exposure. It's good for his confidence, and it's good to do something that I didn't do. Because I couldn't jump like that at 23 years old. I couldn't jump over nobody. I could slam dunk it, but you know, I wasn't creative like that. So that's good that he's able to do something and earn and make a name for himself. Then he came down to Atlanta 2 weeks later and hit a buzzer beater to win the game. So that's just it's all adding up. It's like a snowball effect into a positive direction. So I'm proud of him.
Hey, Big Dawg, we talk about this father-son dynamic, and right now we're in the midst of the NCAA tournament. Rod and I were just up at Madison Square Garden checking out the Sweet 16. When you think about your run at Purdue to the Elite Eight and your son's run to the national championship game at Michigan, what is this time of year and when the tournament comes around, just some of the memories and some of the things that you smile back on looking at your time and your son's time in college?
Oh, it's great memories. You know, in college, it's like the guys are there like your brothers. It's like your brothers and your cousins out there. Each level that you get to, the more business it becomes. So once you get to the professional level, it's, you know, you don't hang with, you may see your teammates, and you can vouch for this, Rod. You see them, we see them a lot, probably. We spend more time with our teammates than our families. But, hey, after practice, everybody go home to their families, and you know, we're not hanging out like we were in college. You know, in college, we all might do things together a little bit more, so it's more like a business and when you're at the professional level. But going back to college, those were, in the tournaments, those were great times because you want to make a name for yourself. It's on the big stage, and we were having a good year. We had won the Big Ten. We was #1 seed, and you know, we had more than just Glen Robinson on the team. You know, those guys that was around me, they played the defense. They did the dirty work. But offensively, you know, I got the ball, and you know, they got the ball to me. But you know, just playing a team like Kansas is one of the best. Kansas is one of the best teams year in and year out in the NCAA, whether it's conference play or tournament play. So just to beat a team like that gives you a lot of confidence. And, of course, Dick Vitale predicted us to lose that game. He said it would be bye-bye Boilers. So that gave us a little bit more incentive to go out and try to do the best we could. But Kansas was a great program. And even the other teams that we played before, we got a chance to play in Kentucky. Kentucky had the three-point line. So I was out there trying to see if I had three-point range on a couple of shots. I nailed a few of them down. And, you know, so it's just that whole experience and just that whole stage. It's nothing like it.
Yeah. Big Dawg, so tell me this, man. Well, number one, I want to say this. I see that in your freshman year, and I didn't realize this. I mean, it's so long ago that you sat out your first year. You sat out your whole first year, right, and came back your sophomore year and averaged 24 and 9 rebounds. And it just goes back to what we were saying, and I wanted to come back to that. Again, you had to go through a process. You know, that's a little humbling. You got to sit out your first year. So you had to work hard and get ready for that second year. And what was your mindset? And this will go to your game period, though, but what was that mindset when you set out that first year to get ready to play that next year?
I was scared, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a numerous amount of players that was rated pretty high coming out of high school, and they had to sit out. And for some reason, when you sit out a year, you kind of lose. You lose it a little bit. I think I think it was Rose that went to Kentucky. I think he was a prop. I think he came out in our year. I think it may have been Malik Rose. Don't quote the name, but just an example, he was one of the best players in the country. And when he came back his sophomore year, he didn't have that confidence, or his game didn't seem the same. So my fear was always that sitting out, I was going to lose some of my games. So I was worried about that. So that gave me the motivation, and that kept me working hard. Now, however, going back to the athletic ability of Little Glen, that was one thing that kind of took away a little bit of my hops. Whether it was an inch and a half or 2 inches, but when you play 80 games a year and you lose an inch on your stuff, in about 5 or 6, 7 years, you realize, man, I'm slowing down a little bit. So it kind of took away a little bit of my speed, maybe, but you couldn't tell it then. It took away a little bit of the hops, and the same thing that happened on my rookie year when I didn't come into camp in October. I had to sit out. I came straight into the league once the season started in November, the second game of the year. So that kind of hurt a little bit. Things like the lockout when you sit out. So now what I teach the kids is you need to be in the gym 4 to 6 days a week, regardless if you're shooting jump shots or if you're just walking on a treadmill or hitting your body parts with the weights. And that's one thing that I wish that I was doing more during my NBA career is train like I train now. 5 or 6 days a week, and that would have made the world of a difference. But my fear was to come back and not be as sharp as I was coming out of high school. So, and Coach Katie did a great job. He stayed on me and made sure I was shooting the jump shot, working on perimeter type of stuff. I would meet with him every other week, and the first thing he would ask me, "Are you working on your ball handling skills? Are you working on your jump shot? Did you shoot your jumpers today?" And that gave me the confidence and the drive to keep doing it, because some coaches don't keep the promises that they make. They say they'll play you in one position, but when the ball hit the fan, they put you somewhere else. Right. So that gave me that drive. I didn't want to come back and not be as sharp as I was coming out of high school.
Man, that's fantastic. We're going to go to the break. Stick and stay. Don't go away. On the other side, we're going to bring you some more dynamic conversations with Glen Robinson, a.k.a. the Big Dawg.
When champions, you can check the stats and match 40K points. You can bet your stacks. Instead of doubter of my talent, you can rest in peace. I boogie down in the apple where the best would be, and left it all on the court, they the best of me. Now I'm blessed to be, and your presence got lessons, got game and a message. Experience testing through trades and investments. You should invest in this stock before we drop it and spread it. This magic Orlando, now more like some wizards you watched. I'm in Washington, feet up, go chillin'. Top billing true, strictly speaking, played in every region. Ooh, strictly speaking, every pivot's pivotal. Every step along the way is critical. Even when you down and feeling ridiculed. Strictly speaking, I can speak for keeping cool. Put in work even when not visible. Nothing but the truth. Yeah. Strictly speaking, yeah. Yeah. Strictly speaking, yeah. Yeah.
And we're back with the Big Dawg, Glen Robinson. Now, I heard this story that during that first year that Rod talked about, that one of the facility workers gave you the nickname the Big Dawg.